Welcome to Gridiron Chronicles, where each week we'll bring you exclusive interviews with the players, coaches, and unsung heroes who embody this true spirit of the game. I'm your host, Josue, and today we have some very special guests. Please welcome
Renee Allen, co-owner, CEO, COO of the Arizona Athletic Alliance Football League and the AZ Elite Vipers.
Nigel, co-owner of the Arizona Athletic Alliance and co-owner of the AZ Elite Vipers.
I would like to thank you guys for joining us. And so to start off the show, I want to ask, why the name Arizona Athletics? Was it Arizona Alliance League?
Arizona Athletic Alliance.
Athletic Alliance.
Actually, we were thinking of a name, and Nigel had called me because we had thrown some names out there, and he's like, I keep seeing this name no matter where I go. It's on the side of a truck, a billboard, and then I had seen the name too. It was funny. I was like, dude, I just saw that name too, so we got to roll with that.
So the name Arizona Athletic Alliance, which Renee and I kept seeing the word alliance all over the valley, but yet we wanted a league that we wanted a league name that is not just based off of football, but a broad name. It just so happened that we wanted to make it known that it's, for athletes, and yet we represent the state. We are really huge on representing the state. So AAA came to play. So when that came in, we had to say, well, even though we may be called AAA, we have to make it well known. So that's why our logo is the way it is, along with the Arizona Athletic Alliance Football League. So the alliance means that we can just broad out more. You don't have to just necessarily represent football. We could do any other sport if we wanted to as well. But and then not only that, the alliance as far as teams coming together and joining the football league. So I think it was a great combination of Arizona Athletic Alliance Football League. Renee and I had put some time and thought into it.
So what was the motive for starting this league? Like, did you have any goals or like?
Yes, I think I learned a lot. We both worked with the Arizona Desert Football League for about 5 years. Nigel definitely maybe longer. And we learned a lot, in that environment. And, we had some thoughts and ideas, especially for me on the operational side, just kind of blending what I do in my career. And seeing how I can improve some of the things that were just going on, how things were executed, and realizing that, okay, if this is something we want to do, obviously every league has their own flavor, and it suits those league owners. Definitely have no qualms with that at all. So when Nigel and I were talking about that, actually, the conversation was first, Nigel wanted to coach a team. That was one of his aspirations. I really would like to coach a team, and we really kind of started thinking about just a team, Vipers. And then it was like, well, with everything that we're doing, like we're kind of running the league, we should try to put our, some of the ideas and concepts that we have, and put that to the test. And we got to test a little bit of it in the DFL, and we were grateful for that experience. So it's just taking that step forward and saying, hey, let's do this. And a lot of conversation that we had, and realizing really just the time commitment. It's something like once you do it, you got to be in it, because it's a lot of work. So first came the Vipers. That was the first thing that we rolled out, setting the stage, introduction into the environment, right, the industry, and then the spring league to follow. So
What would you say that's different about this league compared to the others?
I think
Business plan.
I do have
Business plan.
Yeah. We have a lot of things going on.
We have a lot of different things that are different about our league, and the concepts of how we do things and why we do things. Method to the madness is gonna be different, but not just getting into the intangibles of it. It's just that our timing of bringing the Arizona Athletic Alliance to life happened to be at the right moment. For myself personally, being involved in minor league football since 1995, and then coming from the Gridiron League, which now changed to the CFL, and then spending some time in the Desert Football League. Now coming to the Arizona Athletic Alliance Football League. The timing was perfect, and the reason why I say that is because we had in minor league football a couple of years of COVID, okay, and it made all sports, not just high school, but college, NFL. It made everything very difficult to participate in following COVID guideline rules. And with that being said, we saw how leagues were financially hurting and financially trying to get through it. So it gave us a lot of time to sit back and prepare about the things that we would like to do and bring to the table to help minor league football become better. With that being said, a business plan is huge. And then with the deal with dealing with COVID and then coming out, we wanted to make another league, or just make our league not only have credibility but just be competitive. The one thing that I love about the Arizona Athletic Alliance Football League is we're not talking about we're the best league. It doesn't matter to us. It doesn't matter to us. We just want to be able to be respected. And that, I think, is more important for Renee and I. We just want to be respected in that sense of like, okay, this is where we can go play good quality football. All right, it's not about what teams we have or nothing like that. I enjoy all my owners, team owners, and the players, and the quality of football that we are playing. That's what matters. It doesn't matter what teams you got. It matters is your players, your owners, your coaches, and how well your product is it respected, and that's key. That's key.
The strategies that we have, the business plan that we have for the Alliance, it's not stagnant. It's just not, oh, we're just trying to put a league with teams in it. There's very specific goals that the league holistically has to meet, right? That we set in place. You know, where we need to be at year 3, where we need to be at year 5, and where we need to be at year 8. So everything that we do is folding into that, you know, to help us progress towards that goal. So it's not a stale plan. You know, there's movement to our business plan, and there's goals that we're trying to ascertain as these years go by. So every year we're adding something in. Every year we're reaching out a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Now, granted, I think we were very blessed our first 2 years at the gate, despite what has happened, you know, mid-season last year. It's just growing. I mean, granted, we do a lot more business on a national level. We do a lot more, you know, networking with other leagues and stuff that's going on outside. That's where a lot of our business is. But that's our flavor for our league. We're not saying that's every league has to do that. There's a lot of work that goes into that, not just as an ownership, but on the owners of the team as well. So it's also preparing them to, if they want to participate on that level, preparing their organization to handle that type of interaction and activity on a national level. A lot of people are like, oh, well, we need to travel. How come we're not traveling? How can we? It takes a lot to pick up a team, take it to a location, and then perform successfully. There's a lot that goes into that. And anyone who's tried to do it, they know the stresses that go with it. And we're trying to do it consistently. You know, the Vipers is all about that. So that's a whole other approach than how I approach the league. But we do have that type of intrastate play that goes on. We did that season 1, but because of everything that happened in season 2, we kind of put a halt in that because the focus is at the end of the day quality. So despite what happens, it's our responsibility to make sure that we are creating a quality experience for everyone there. So they're getting what they need to perform on game day. But the business plan is what, you know, really drives that. And that is really custom tailored for the Alliance. You know, so we really don't compare to any, you know, to the Southern Arizona, to the Arizona Cactus, to the Arizona Desert. They've all got their things going on too, and we're, hey, blessed, you know, that they get their success as well. And I think that's awesome to have that many choices in the league. I don't think it's a lot. It's definitely not saturated. Don't get that twisted. We have the right amount of leagues and choices. It's just like saying, if I like Nike because I'm a Nike girl, I'm making you wear Nike. No, you may want Adidas, you may want Sakata, you may want to wear something else. So I think that's what's great, that these leagues have their own personalities, and you can pick the one, as a team, what fits you best. So for the Alliance, it's just we just have different goals and a different orientation on our approach. That's really it, you know what I mean? So our goal is just to do the best that we can, provide the best quality product that we can.
So let's talk about, you guys, the fight that happened with the Roll Tide and then also with the Reapers as well, and how you guys lost like the field in Tempe. How were you guys able to overcome that?
Well, I wouldn't say we overcome.
We managed through it. Yeah.
I would say, I would say that
really wasn't. I mean, I know the Reapers contributed, but I think really the nail in the coffin was, and it really just didn't impact us, is whoever decided to make that phone call. That impacted, a lot of people don't know, that impacted youth football that happens in that environment, as well as the other leagues.
Yeah, it went further. So, it went further than just the Arizona Athletic Alliance. One phone call messed it up for youth leagues at Tempe High.
Just everything gets
I want to say, and I'm be real careful and selective on my words, I want to say that we did manage to get through it. It really wasn't easy. Let me tell you, first of all, when I talk about being respected and having credibility, one of the hardest things to do was to have the conversations when you have to be an owner and put on a hat and have conversations about self-conduct and fan conduct and player conduct, ownership conduct, coaching conduct. It's the hardest thing to do because you don't want to lose a relationship, but sometimes that is the best result. And with that being said, it's made Arizona Athletic Alliance a lot stronger as far as team ownership, because now team ownership, staff, and ownership of the Alliance can recognize problems a mile away and be able to put a quick fix to it before it can explode. And here's the thing. A lot of individuals may disagree, but it's business. Okay, it's not personal, it's business. Because no matter what happens, the Arizona Athletic Alliance has to keep going. Okay, and we don't stop. We got to keep going. And the fact that we had to go through that, it's a blessing, because you could take it as like, oh man, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna just, fold up and just quit and just, and we heard the rumors and innocent, but no,
people told us we folded, remember?
Yes, we got told that we were gonna fold and everything, but the adversity, we just
persevered.
Go through it, and it's not easy. It's not easy by any stretch. It wasn't easy. We do personally, Renee and myself, hope and wish the Reapers the best in the direction that they choose to go in the organization and the ownership. No hard feelings. But at the end of the day, the Reaper organization, Arizona Athletic Alliance, is business. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. It's okay though. But
so you had a couple of things there. Like, I think you asked about the Roll Tide Vengeance fight, right? That was an unfortunate situation. To speak to that piece of it was, just an island to itself. One, a lot of things that we learned from that. Number one is proper staffing on each, teams in itself. If you want a roster of 50 or 60, can you manage those personalities, that energy, that adrenaline? If you can't manage that, you need to go back to the drawing board and figure out, like, what do you do so you can manage your team, right? Because emotions happen, adrenaline's pumped. It's a sport, it's a physical sport. So we learned a lot from that, experience. Each individual organization, they did have their different approach and how they chose to handle it, but on an team owner level, there's a lot of growth there. Even for the other teams that weren't in part of that, they learned it from that experience as well as we did from the league too. So it was an unfortunate thing that kind of, I think, unnecessarily, obviously, got out of hand, but at the end of the day, it happened, and unfortunately we don't get do-overs. And I think this, most of the leagues will say the same thing. When there's fights on the field, fights on the sidelines, fights in the stands, we as leagues don't get do-overs. It's very rare that we get second opportunities, to smooth things over with our host facility. So it's just something that I believe most leagues say the same thing, is kind of zero tolerance. You just can't.
You have to
Too much
practice.
focus.
You have to. Yeah, she's right. You have to practice zero tolerance. And I know that people can say that's oh, that's corny and anything, but no, it's real. Because we have an LLC for Arizona Athletic Alliance Football League. This isn't MMA. We don't have a license for fighting. We don't condone that. We don't, support the fighting. I get it. It's football. Trust me, I get it. It's football. We both get it. It's football, and it's going to be competitive, and words going to be shot out and everything. But then, I take full responsibility and accountability on my part as a league owner to make sure that my officials are knowing what to do in these types of situations and to prevent that type of stuff. Shutting it down. And if that means excessive flags and yardage, then so be it. Because one incident affects hundreds of different players and coaches and owners. And that's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. And then the community, that comes to support this, they don't know too much about it, and then they're learning, and then this is what they see. It's not, it's not. Then, hey, Renee and I'm just gonna, throw it out there. We, believe it or not, we're owners, but we answer to some people too as well. We have an advisory board. And a lot of people don't realize that. Like, we have an NFL, and former NFL players and advisory board that supports us and that is strong and giving us advice and guidance. And
even our staff.
We report and we listen and we take that. So we take all situations very seriously. It may not come out to that look to the players or the coaches or maybe even owners, but for Renee and I, yes, we value our advisory board's opinions, and we have to value. Then the community, the school itself, and then not only that, the school district. That's another thing.
Yeah.
And then when you get the city police involved, oh yeah, that's Renee and I. At the end of the day, we have to answer to that, and some don't see that. They don't hear about that. They don't know that. They think it's it's just, it stops at Nigel and Renee. No, it doesn't. Mm-hmm. It's above our head too. And that's why we try hard to have the credibility and the responsibility of taking accountability for the things that do happen out there. That's why we have zero tolerance, and we don't condone it, and we never will.
So coming back to some of the positive things that I would like, some of the people want to hear, like, what are some of you guys' long-term goals for this league?
There's a couple, obviously, to expand our scope of interleague play more on a national level. That is something we have been driving to. First, obviously, we start regionally, and then we just start spreading out nationally. Paving the way for that, obviously, is the Vipers, because they're specifically built to support that type of stress in a business and make that 4-way consistent. I think we definitely have teams that have traveled before. I mean, they're not doing anything no one has done before, but the consistency in which they do it is brand new. And that has its own challenges, but that was baked in. That was baked into the risk and the responsibility to consider when we decided to create the team. So they're going to continue to do that in that aspect. For the league, it's quality of play. Yes, it's nice to have teams dominate. We see rankings all the time, 10-0, 12-0, and that's great, and I congratulate all those teams. But the first thing I do is look at the next 4 or 5 teams, right? The top 4, the top 5. How did they fare in that season? If there's a considerable drop off, then where's the quality within the league? You know what I mean? And so our primary goal these first 3 years is create a quality league, a quality style of play, Nigel's done a great job in implementing the NCAA platform as far as rules, officiating, and how we conduct and how we go about play, right? But then taking that, and then it's preparing players. They have their choice. Some players just like to play. Some actually want to get back into academia. Some want to go in professional. So evolving that particular program from that aspect of it. Tertiarily, I guess in the 5-year plan is to start, and this is no secret, is to go, we want to go overseas, at least once, and everything we're doing is preparing for that. And then after year 5, obviously it's consistency, repeating that. And then also opening up our other pillars that are going to be under the Arizona Athletic Alliance, because there's other businesses that will be rolling out. But of course, we need to establish this first, make sure that we work out the kinks. That's the goal. But there's room for flexibility in that, because things happen, right? Sometimes, like right now, I'm working on 2025, 2026. That's where my business, as I say, my placemat is at right now. That's what I'm busy with. Most of the things I've already got squared away for 2024, already. You have to, there's just so much work. And I'm also, there's certain aspects I'm learning. I have to learn myself, as well as what, just a lot of things within the organization, everything from creating websites to technology. We're talking about switcher and streaming and sharing those best practices. And I think that's one of the beautiful things when you do reach out to some of these established leagues that are outside the state, and how they go about doing their business. And I think that one of the wonderful things is how they view us, and they've got to be more familiar with our program, what we're about, how we present ourselves when we're out there, that they start to include us in their conversation. And that's all we can really ask right now, because we are still the newbies on the block. And so, but just being part of those conversations on a national level, you just learn so much more, you know what I mean? And it really fits into what we're trying to do in our strategies that we have.
Okay. So do you guys have any major plans this year, or do we just have to wait and see?
You have to wait and see.
Wait and see.
But I say that being a smart ass, but
No.
no, you have to wait and see, because I do like to bring out the surprises, to see the joy on the faces. They're always a good thing. But our
Should you tell me about All-Stars?
well, we are basically focusing. Yeah, we can talk about them. We are focusing on our All-Star game. It's our first time doing our own, putting a game together for our All-Stars in this league.
No, the challenge.
The what?
Okay, so we rolled out our All-Star team, right? This is our first time doing it. I know we got a lot of feedback or whatever. We have a method to why we're doing what we're doing. This is the way we do it.
Yeah.
So we need to have enough guys to make 2 teams. But the exciting thing is because of the legwork and the hard work we've put in the previous 2 years with the Vipers, we do get noticed in different arenas. So we rolled out our All-Star team, and we just got a call, and our All-Star team has been challenged by Colorado's All-Stars. So that's we've accepted that challenge. So it's something we got to work through. So I think that's super exciting. I think it's be exciting for the guys. And so we're going to be working out the details, and I think it's going to be a great experience. It will be in Colorado, so it'll be a travel game for them. So again, bringing that opportunity to travel outside the state of Arizona under the Alliance, Arizona Athletic Alliance football banner is a first, as a holistically representing our league. So we're super excited about that.
Yeah.
And we feel blessed that they considered us, that they asked and reached out for us. So we're really excited. But again, having the All-Star made team, it made it possible.
Yeah.
So we're pretty
So
excited
that's
about
just part of the stuff that Renee and I are doing as far as legwork on building relationships. We're very very keen on building relationships.
Yeah.
Not just with leagues in the state, but outside of the state, and to elevate the play of the players. When I was the experience as well too. But when I was playing, we didn't have those type of opportunities to go outside of the state and play different teams, or to see different competition at different levels. So that I think that's key for the state of Arizona. I know that on these zones, there's certain backlashes for it because the team may lose or whatever. To me, it's not about a win or a loss. It's a win regardless, just because I got to take a player that have never ever traveled out of the state of Arizona to see what life is like in a different state for that moment. Even to play football, you know, and then having players conduct themselves in a professional manner, even if they're not at the NFL level. This is where they get to see an opportunity to conduct themselves and be professional on the level that the Alliance is bringing to the individual players, not just players, but coaches and owners, you know, and then my staff and Renee and myself. So it is huge that states play our all-star teams or our travel teams. You know, that's how our players. It's a lot of work, but that's how our players are going to get better. That's how the coaches get better. Okay, I mean,
it's a different brand of football in different states.
You know, it goes all the way up from the players to the owners. The owners get better. They start building relationships with different owners from different states. So then they get to talk and it's like, hey, let's make something happen. You know, we're out here now. Why don't you guys come down? You know, so it's positive all the way around. It's not meant to come out negative. It's meant to be just positive only.
And I think you had mentioned, you kind of tapped on something that we constantly hear in the chatters about the state of minor league football or semi-pro football in the state of Arizona. You know, being in 8 years and focusing on operational excellence, right? That we call it OPEX, and something that I introduced to our league, the Arizona Alliance, you'll hear all the time, and owners, and of course with us, is responsible growth. Growing where you can manage that and handle that. We're not trying to water down what we do, so we're moving at our own pace. I don't need to do 15 teams because you think we need to have a mega league or whatever. No, because we have this plan and we are moving so that we can navigate to our destination successfully with the type of quality that we would like. But looking at football generally across the state of Arizona is very healthy. If you look at the number of players in the Desert Football League, the Cactus League, the Alliance, the Southern Arizona, there's players in all of these leagues and it's growing every year. We have if there's new teams coming up, it's growing. So it's very healthy as far as vibrancy, you know, in the state. So I don't think anyone should ever have to worry about, you know, the state of Arizona. Now, where you go, you know, each league, like I said, has their own platform. Like for example, you talked about differences. Like one of the big differences in the Alliance is like we just don't stack ever. You know, rosters have to be rosters have to be locked. If you're not meeting your requirements as a player, you get locked out of the game, right? And we're very particular about that. We understand a lot of, you know, players may not like that, but that's our culture, right? I'm not downing or anything that, you know, stacking or whatever. If that's what that league allows, that's what they allow. And trust me, you probably already know that when you join that league. You know, just like you already know it when you join our league. So that's one of the biggest differences, I guess, between the leagues. But on a positive note, as you said, I think from the numbers that we're seeing across the board, there's a lot of growth, and I think it's going to continue to grow. I think it's exciting to see when we talk about the next wave of players, the younger players that are coming out, it's exciting to watch them play and how they fold into the environment and support it. So, what do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for the new teams that's joining the Alliance League, what are your expectations for them?
To be honest with you, Renee and I think we hold the new teams that are joining high expectations. We always, and the teams that are already here, they themselves have high expectations. It's a good quality of football. I'm not into who has the better athletes or who has the better talent, or there's less talent here or more talent. I don't care about any of that. It's still football. At the end of the day, it's no matter what, it's still football. Is it going to be competitive? Yes. Are there going to be guys out there sweating? You best believe it. Is there talent out there? Oh yeah, there's some talent out there. You can't ignore it. It's not going anywhere. It's football. You know, just at the end of the day, what I really truly care about is, and I speak for Renee and myself on this, is being able to provide the platform and the gates open in the field with the lights on. That's what matters the most. And the coaches, the owners, and the players are bought into our program, our philosophy, and what we're trying to build, and how we are as a league, that's huge. That's crucial. That's everything in itself.
I think stability is what we like to see in our organizations.
And that comes from this. Yeah, I'm glad you said that. Stability, honestly, for me personally, when I think it comes from the team owners. That's where your stability comes from. You got good team owners, your league is gonna keep doing this.
Mm-hmm. So for the new teams, it's definitely just making sure they have, what their business plan is, and we are there to support and strengthen that, provide guidance and mentorship.
Yes.
So it's about stabilizing their organization as they fold into the alliance. Team owners have responsibility with their fellow peers on things that they work on. So it's that camaraderie and compatibility amongst all the owners to deal with those projects that are on their level. So it's really just getting them acclimated to the environment. We understand there's differences across the board. It's a cultural change a lot of the times from the other leagues to the alliance. Again, this is just our flavor. And that's really for the first year team. It's just getting them, getting their feet wet and getting, and yes, we want them all to have a great, successful season. But at the end of the day, regardless of what the win-loss is, to what Nigel is saying, is the experience. Did you enjoy the season? How can we, if we need to improve, but definitely raising their hand for best practices and all that kind of stuff. So just making sure they kick off.
So,
Why is he smiling?
what are the teams to look out for this year? It could be new or old. What would be your top 3 teams to keep an eye out on this year?
You really want to know, huh?
Really want to know.
Okay,
Top
well, first of all,
I'm holding mine till the 7s always tells me a lot.
the 7s.
Yeah.
The 7s. Okay.
The 7s tell me a lot because it tells me there's got to be a certain amount of synergy on that team to handle whatever's thrown at them, because you're going to have challenges. And if a team can't handle a loss and they fall apart, man, it's going to be a loss.
I like the word synergy.
Yeah.
I like the word synergy.
No, find your own word.
No, I do. I have one. It's called unity.
Unity.
I'm going to tell you why. I'll tell you why. It's because as a unit, and if they unify together collectively, that I think, along with synergy, that does it. So I say I cannot.
He wants us to name team names, though.
I'm getting there. I cannot
be careful.
leave out the Road Tide just because if I have to say, I know Bo Battle is gonna, from how he conducts himself, I know just looking at Bo what Bo's gonna try to bring to the table. Okay. Number two.
Tread lightly, sir.
It's just because of his legendary status, and I say legendary with all due respect. Team owner and more than likely, I believe he's head coach. Is he not?
Mr. Demery?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's just face it. In minor league football, you can't ignore that. Sorry. The man has got championships
Schools in session.
So I do think that the Ravens will
make an impact.
Wait,
are you asking impacts or are you saying top 3?
Top 3.
Yeah, Nigel, quit walking around.
You can't ignore that man's coaching. He's himself. Okay. I've seen because he broke off with the Warriors, Tamatoa, and the things that he coached over there and how he made it hard for. What teams did he face in the playoffs? It was the Vengeance.
The Vengeance. Oh man, he's got that. It's their conditioning that he implemented.
And don't get me wrong, the Vengeance last year, held their own. So I just think you can't ignore that. So I think if he has a good recruiting class, they can make some noise. That's all I'm saying. They can make some noise.
Yeah. Who's your top 3? So you said Tide. You said.
Now here's where it gets tricky, because it's not really fair. Because he said top 3, and there's 3 teams that I don't know which ones can go. And I have to say, based off the play last year, the Warriors, Tamatoa was really tough, and I expect them to come back and be just as tough, if not I expect them to improve.
Tougher.
Okay, and then you have the Lopes.
You said 3 though, Nigel.
No, I'm just saying they vie for the last spot.
Oh,
Can I speak? Let me speak.
No, wait a minute. You said Tide,
The
Ravens.
top 2. Okay, so then I said now the Warriors, the Lopes, and the Vengeance. But let me explain for the 3rd spot. Warriors were tough, and I expect them to come back and bring that back. The Lopes aren't going to be a pushover. Those young men are, and if they recruit well in that Grand Canyon community, I think that, and the talent that they have, yeah, they'll make some noise. And then we cannot count out the Vengeance. Okay, we can't count them out. They're having returning. They're gonna have a lot of returners. I mean, the team may have parted ways to a certain extent, but they're gonna have some returners to come back, and they got a core, so that you can't count them out. That's for the 3rd spot. I just don't know which out of those 3.
What?
So that's where I'm. That's where I'm saying right now, but trying to play it safe. That was, man, you something else.
So let's talk about the Vipers.
Whoop whoop.
You guys made
Go Vipers.
You guys are a first-year championship team. The first year you guys made the team.
Yes.
You guys brought a bunch of people that played on different teams, and they
Mhm.
made them able to, become one to win that championship.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What are your plans short term for the Vipers?
Short term is just pushing that demographic out nationally, as far as games and just partnerships that we have with different leagues across the nation. So we're gonna keep just pushing that. Again, it's about consistency. I don't want to go to Philly once and then we never go back again. We're just playing in California. We're trying to be consistently going to the Midwest and back east. So it's just about continuously to push that boundary outward, and keep encouraging the player selection for the Vipers to be the best that it can be. Now obviously Vipers, we're not talking about entry-level players or players who are not sure. You really got to be part and be willing to be part of a team. Everybody's above average on the Vipers. So if you're thinking you're gonna come in and I'm it, you probably won't have a successful experience with the Vipers, because basically everybody's it on the Vipers. But it's about, can you put your stripes aside, leave it at the door, and come together, as you said, collectively and be a team. Because as we kind of spoke to before, when you play football, it's a whole different brand of football. How they go about playing the game, the environment where you're going to be playing is different. And if you want to be a champion, you got to win everywhere, not just in your same stadium that you're used to or you're accustomed to. So there's a lot of learning when you go to the Vipers, a lot of flexibility mentally as an athlete. You have to have that mental flexibility. So again, we are still, I believe, in the infancy stages with the Vipers, because it's a concept that we're trying to share with the players that join that, about your mental, first of all, your football IQ, right? And then your own personal mental flexibility as far as what you're going to do, where you're going to play. You may be in a particular role, but on Vipers, you got to play another role, because that's what's needed, right? So you got to have that mental flexibility, and then the discipline. It's a lot of back to basics this season. We have a tough schedule this season, so
Yeah.
it's a very tough schedule.
How many games we get?
It's 5. It's always a 5 game.
Yeah, it's
always
five
games.
no more than 5 or 6.
Yeah, it's a compact
games.
season. What we call a compact season.
It's not even really a season. It's just, but we call it that. But it's 5 to 6 games, but it's very competitive. I am currently working on some relationships with teams back east, and especially in my home state of Florida, Central Florida Buccaneers, or they're based out of Orlando. So I've been talking with them, and I have been in talks with the Utah Senate, because they just recently.
No, we locked.
Huh?
We locked.
Oh, we locked.
Mhm.
Okay, so they got that one down. But there's other teams. I think there's a team in Maryland. I think so.
We're gonna say.
Huh?
We're gonna roll that out later.
Oh, we are?
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
But
Well,
no, go ahead. No, go because.
No, but we basically, the thing is with the Vipers and having a first year championship. We just kind of fell into it, but we did take advantage of it. Being coached very well by all the coaches that did participate that year in the Vipers. And to be honest, one of my brothers, my younger brother, Cy Burley, which a lot of minor league football players know that he's the assistant head coach with the Rattlers, and he was the head coach of Jacksonville Sharks. So Cy took it upon himself to help coach a lot of different athletes that came from the Alliance and other leagues. And I commend him a lot for having the patience to deal with it and help and guide these young brothers to a victory in a bowl game, because it brought the camaraderie to the forefront. But we have a lot of talent here in the Alliance League and other leagues around too as well. But I'm trying to get all my players to understand that doors are open up. But if you're not putting yourself out there to experience the level of competition that's in from different states, film's going to speak for itself. And it's probably good being young to travel. If I say it like this because as a young man, we all in sports want to make it to the highest level. But now we know the odds, we know the percentages. So realistically, some do and some don't. There are players in the NFL that shouldn't be in the NFL, and there are people that are not in the NFL that should be in the NFL. I'm just gonna keep it 100. But here's my thing: the platform that Renee and I are trying to build with the Arizona Elite Vipers is to get more exposure for the player. Okay. That's why I don't feed into the zones about, oh, well, we're embarrassed as a state, and it's not about that for the Arizona Elite Vipers. Do we want to win? Yes. I'm not going to say we don't. What I'm looking for is when I have these relationships with certain arena teams, with the Rattlers and the Kings and the Jacksonville Sharks and so on and so on. An owner and a coach is going to call me and say, Nigel, what do you got at this position and what? So this is why I send them the film. This is why I want teams to be playing us as in the Vipers, so that they can see it's not just, oh, this player is playing in the Alliance League and he's just good in this league. How well will he do against a West Coast offense? How will he do against an East Coast team? That's when this player is going to get noticed. That's when this player, and that 15 seconds of film is going to tell that coach and that owner everything. 15 seconds is all it's all you need. And what these players have is go to the Vipers and play and be dynamic. Because in that sense, is when you're dynamic, that's what the coaches want to see. That's how you sell yourself, is what do you bring to the table that I can have 1,000 receivers, but what makes you more dynamic than the next receiver? Okay? That's what these coaches and owners want to see. Then they're going to call me and they're going to say, hey, well, is he coachable? Does he listen? How hard does he work in practice? Is he a leader? Is he a follower? Is he a cancer? Is he a locker room cancer? These are things that arena teams and the next level want to hear and see. And that's why I, along with Renee, are putting the Vipers out there so that, some of these players wish they could have done more or played different levels, and this is where they get it. Now, at the end of the Viper 6-game stint, they're to go back to the teams. Now, what do they do for the Alliance League in itself, for the teams that they go back to? Well, they bring more experience back to the team. They're starting to learn how to be in top in the game and then close the game out.
I think it's the pressure, handling the pressure, because
the adversity,
it's different. And to continue on Nigel's point, it's preparation at the end of the day. You can be the best athlete. You may even showcase well on the Viper stage. You know what I'm saying? But how well do you fare mentally when you do move into these other environments? So it's also keeping things transparent and honest of what they should expect when they do move into an arena environment, or what they should expect if they're competing to get back into academia, an NCAA and NCIA team. Expectations are different that's going to be placed on the athlete. Do they truly understand what that is? Because long gone are the days where I'm an athlete so I can just get away with whatever, right? Now there's so many rules in place, and eyes on the athletes. They have to have their own toolbox to be successful. So yeah, your skill, your athlete, your ability is definitely your vehicle, but you got to put the right gas in, right, to carry you further. So are you prepared mentally? Are you prepared financially? Do you have the appropriate expectation that once you get to let's say into arena environment, these guys you're talking the ex-NFL, D1, so your maturity level, right? Your maturity in your football skills and techniques, they've got to be there.
Right. Because it's harder. It's okay. Because she's right. Because it's harder for the minor league football player to make it to that level.
It's a tougher role.
So when you have cream of the crop like the Rattlers that really don't lose a whole lot, and they're known to be in championships back to back to back, or at least contending, they're going to pluck from guys that have been cut from the NFL. They're going to pluck from colleges that don't get drafted, college players that don't get drafted, or that got cut from the XFL, USFL,
or they graduated,
okay, or Canadian Football League, or got cut from another arena team. So what does that say for the Arizona Athletic Alliance? Where do the guys that I have, like the Antoine Woodbury's that could probably play an arena team, but they don't have an opportunity to get there? What does he need to do? Well, get on the Vipers, showcase your talent in front of the same coaches and owners that that I build relationships with.
It's enhancing their resume, as he's saying, because at the end of the day, if a coach is sitting there and they have to choose, say I'm ASU, why do I want to take this young man whose resume has only been, semi-pro? What's that environment like? Is it not disciplined? He might go into shock, right? In a super uber disciplined environment when, for the school. So that's why too, how we conduct, you asked earlier why we set up the way we're set up, and he was talking about transitioning, from, our league into the school leagues. That's part of that, to ease that stress. That's one thing you don't have to worry about because you're accustomed to it. So it's preparation. If you want to go into professional, again, your coaches are looking at you. I've got X amount of budget, and I'm looking at my talent that's out there. Now, if I have, four D1s, one ex-NFL that, maybe I would say 5 or 6 years removed, right, and a player from the, from minor league. How do we get this player to get that to, level the playing field, so that he's a viable, option for them? How do we get there? How do we get that player to be on that same consideration? And that is something that we're still working on. We're still fine-tuning that program. So you talked about some of the things that in the future for the Alliance it's really just evolving that program. And so, and to be very honest, we may have 20 guys that want to go into arena because that seems to be the easiest path, right, or most likely path, right? 20 guys to go to arena. In reality, out of those 20, maybe we might have one.
Now they have to have all the intangibles, and this is what the player has to understand.
Those are the odds.
Are they? This is what a coach and an owner will call me and ask. Is he single? Does he have a family? Does he have kids? These are things that the players doesn't think that I have to answer to when it comes to these professional coaches and owners of these arenas.
During the day,
because
can't mess with work,
does he have a job? Does he like to work? I mean, and they're not even asking football questions like how good is he, or can he run a route, or does he understand NFL concepts? I mean, not NFL, but football lingo as far as X's and O's. These are other things that are livelihoods. Now, it's my job to get this young man to the door. Okay, I can lead him to the door. Now, once that door opens, it's up to him to walk through. Is he going to get homesick? I've had players that I've gotten to Jacksonville that been outstanding players. Josh Chadwick played for the Ravens, went there, got homesick, came back. Now I have to adapt to where in my league I got to get players to play both sides of the ball.
That was.
I had Daniel Woodis went out there, killed it on defense.
Great player.
killed it on defense, but couldn't play a lick of fullback.
But you know
But now I have to get him ready to play fullback. He plays fullback. He makes that team. Josh Chadwick made the team, and just got homesick. You know, I got.
But that's us learning those things.
I got to
too.
teach a lot of guys to go both ways sometimes. I got what's the young man that I'm really working hard with right now? Great on defense, defensive player of the year. But now I got to get him to work more on receiver. You know, but a defensive player of the year, 8, 10, 12 interceptions, like 6 or 7 of them returned for pick 6. I mean, league record and everything, but can he play receiver consistently? You know, he's got to fit both sides of the ball because that's what arenas are looking for. They're looking, can he play DB and receiver? You know, I mean, yeah, he's a great receiver, but most of these guys flip both sides. Now, yes, they got a rotation and all that. I get it. But that's what these owners and coaches want to see, you know, their history, their social media.
Oh my God.
You know, I'm gonna keep it real. Is their social media terrible? When you look them up on Facebook, do they got blunts in their mouth? Are they holding pistols? You know, those types of things, an owner and a coach will pass you by if they see you.
Yeah.
If they see you on your social media, you know what I'm saying, with weed in your mouth or drinking or smoking, you know, and guns those are a turnoff. They don't want. He's a thug. He's street. They're gonna. I hate to say it, but they're going to judge you based off your social media.
Well, nowadays, if you're an athlete and you're serious about your elevation, your social media is your resume. So, I mean, it's not hard to notice. I mean, you see these young athletes, some of them in junior high have Instagrams, they have IGs. And if you look at them, it's all about camps they attend, shots in there, you know, doing drills. It's their resume. That's what they're being taught. So it goes the same for those who are in minor league. If you truly want to elevate, your IG is your resume.
There's a perfect example. There's a kid, I forget his real name, but they call him Blaze. He's like 10 or 11 years old. I don't know.
Oh.
But he's already got D1 scholarships coming at him because the kid he broke a state record where he ran like a 10 something at 7 years old or something. He's extremely fast kid, very talented, good footwork. He's already got, you know, HBCU schools, you know, reaching out to him, D1s reaching out to him, but that social media is clean. Okay, and that's what I'm saying. Some guys that'll be better than this kid, social media is shot, and they're just gonna get over it. And that's a part of life now. We have to accept it. That's a part of life.
Right. So, you know, just bringing it full circle, you know, it's about what you want. Vipers, we're here. We have the platform, the program. You know, we have the different things within the program that we try to accomplish. But at the end of the day, it's really about the athlete and really what you're serious about doing. You know, we have the Richard Mitchells, Kevin Andersons. They will tell you it's a full-time job to get to elevate. So if you're not ready to put in, there's nothing wrong if you just want to enjoy the game. There's nothing wrong with that, you know. But if you want to elevate, again, you have to have the mental understanding of what you're about to commit to, and then you got to commit to it. You got to be in the gym. Your health, your nutrition.
How much are you willing to invest in yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you put a price on that?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Vipers, obviously, you know, our format and how we do it, you have to invest into yourself. Mm-hmm. So you got to make sure that you got to pay maybe top dollar for a brand new helmet. That's if you choose it out. How important is your head to you? Okay. Your workout. Do you know what I'm saying? Are you paying for the tryout? Okay. Are you willing to pay $80 for a tryout? I'm just saying that's not the Vipers, but I'm saying, are you willing to pay $80?
Yeah, but are you paying $80 for a trainer? But you don't pay money for a trainer. You gotta look at it. Well, shoot, I go to the club, I pay $80 for a bottle. Yeah. That's my point. What's more important to you, that bottle or your training? If you want to make it a career, you have to approach it as such. And we're definitely here to support. But like Nigel said, we can try to open as many doors, find doors, take you to the door as much as we can. But at the end of the day, it's that individual's career. There's a point where we take a step back and be like, go do it. We're here for you. We're here to support. But at the end of the day, it's that individual athlete's own pathway and career that they have to be willing to be committed to. So we're just trying to do our piece, you know, because there's a lot of pieces, you know, to that will equate to success. We're just trying to provide one of those pieces to help, you know, move that process along as much as we can. But it is about the athlete at the end of the day and their individual commitment.
So before we end the podcast, I would really like to thank you guys for really coming, like, and the things you guys said today, like, really just like open not only my mind, but it's gonna open like people who watch this mind up, and like the decisions that they make in the future, you know, about, you know, like what they post on their social media and everything like that, and like, you know, just the way they behave around and like on and off the field, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. And you guys are the first league owners on the podcast, and I'm very grateful that you guys decided to show up today. It's like an honor.
Well, we appreciate you having us.
We do.
Really do. And it means a lot to us too, because we're really big on trying to push the A out there, and you know, we just want, you know, to be respected and have our own credibility amongst ourselves, and you know, we just want people to appreciate what we are trying to do. Is, you know, have a place where young men can come and release stress in a positive way, you know, and get the aggression out, but in a positive setting, and have fun, you know. We always preach about having a friendly family atmosphere. You know, responsible growth amongst our staffs. We appreciate and love our staff. We couldn't do it without our staff.
Give them shout outs.
And
Monica, Larry, Anthony,
yeah, Sean,
Mary Lou, Sean,
Janae,
my goodness.
Yeah.
They
and then you know, we want to, you know, special thanks to our team owners and our teams, all of them. We wouldn't be where we're at without them. And you know, to the ones that got away, we wish them the best. Got nothing but love for them. And to the fellow leagues that are here in the state of Arizona, I try really hard to keep a great relationship with all of them, an open line of communication, because we have, you know, relied on each other from time to time to help each other out from different areas. But you know, I think it's really good to have different leagues, because it may work out, one league may work out great for one athlete, but it may not work for the other. And so you need, as an athlete, to go to where you fulfill where you fit in best, you know what I'm saying? Maybe one day, it's been talked about other things. Maybe one day we will have a state game. I don't know. I can't promise, but it's being talked about, you know. So maybe one day it may come together. But right now, I think it's good that how everybody's doing. And we personally wish everybody the best of luck in their business and their ventures.
Okay. And Gridiron Chronicles would love to thank you guys for showing up. I really appreciate it.
I think this is a great.
You're doing
really
job.
well,
man.
Yeah.
You're doing really well. Keep it up.
Yeah.
Keep it going. It's good things for minor league football.
For Sway, I think it's really showing another side of you, so it's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming.
Yeah.
You're welcome.